Whoa, not YouTube. This is TK with Cuts by Kelly. In this video, I'm doing a ball fade. If you like this content, make sure you hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing to this channel if you like all the content that I'm putting out, and if I'm giving you any value in the techniques that I use or just the inspiration that I give. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell, and like I said, leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns, or also if you just need more understanding of what I'm doing, or you have questions about what I'm using. But I got a kid in this video. It's the same ball fade process that we've been doing, but I really think it's a good process for anybody who's trying to learn this craft. So like I said, if you think this is giving you any value, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let's get into the video. Yeah! Alright, we got our ball fade. So my first step, I'm gonna set my ball line, and then after that, I'm gonna knock the top down. The top is gonna be a 1.5 with the grain, and I'm using my detachable clippers, my Super ZR2s to do that, but I'm not gonna show that part. So right now, I'm just setting my ball line at the bottom. Here I am debulking, and I want to show this thoroughly because this is really important. Please don't look at this part as least important and really focus in on the fade itself. This part right here can make or break your fades. So I'm doing a 1/8 guard all the way open, and I'm using the corner of my blade, and I'm knocking out the weight. This is really important, like I said, because if you fade real good but you don't knock out the bolt, you still gonna have a heavy line at the top, and that can throw away a nice clean blend. So this part right here, you want to take your time and make sure you diminish the weight from the top of the hair to the side of the hair. Now that we knocked out the weight, we did our debulking. Here I am setting up for my fade. I got my midway point with no guard all the way open, and now I'm ready to blend. You see I'm knocking out the weight at the bottom. Well, I'm knocking out that line at the bottom with my lining clippers. And the reason why I did this is to show you how you can kind of diminish that line from starting to fade. You can start it off with no guard, all the way closed, and then do the diminishing at the end, or you can do this part at the beginning. Now I'm at my fading steps. Y'all know what it is if you've been here. If you haven't been here, I'm gonna leave a link right here, and it's like a 5-minute video, and it just demonstrates those fading steps to you so you can have a better understanding of what I'm doing. But I'm simply going close, quarter, 3/4, and then I'm gonna have my blade all the way open back to that midway point. Now I'm repeating that same fading process with my 1/16 guard on. Close, quarter, 3/4, then open. This fading process is real important. You don't necessarily have to do exactly how I'm saying it, but I advise you, if you're at are a beginner in this, I think you should do it. This will be a big help for you so you don't get lost in your fade. You'll have a better understanding on how to fade. And once you have a good foundation, then you can start doing whatever you want, because you can at least go back to what you know, your fundamentals. But if you don't have a good foundation, then it's going to be hard to really explore your fading and your haircuts, because you'll be limited in the knowledge that you have about fading. So you see the blend is coming in pretty good. Right now I believe I'm on 3/4 of the way open. And once I do that, now I'm at all the way open. But once I do these fading steps, the fade looks pretty good before I even do any spot checking or not debulking or detail work. Before I do a spot check or anything like that, you can see the blend looks pretty good, and we just did our regular fading steps. So let's repeat that same process over here. Here we go with the debulking. Like I said, we can't minimize this and make this like it's not important. This is like one of the most important things you could do, because if you debulk it good, then your blend is gonna look real seamless. Now, you could do it before or you could do it after. It really doesn't matter, but like I said, I'm really trying to hone in on you who are starting to cut hair right now. You're in school or you're cutting your kids' hair. My advice is to do this first, just so you can see where you're at. And if you cut someone with long hair, you'll really know how important it is to debulk first, so you can see where you're at. So it's good just to get this technique down and this process down, so you can do it over and over and just have it as a part of your system. So here we are at the bottom. We're going closed quarter, 3/4 and open. By now I hope you watched that video. If you're new here, like I said, that will break everything down for you, and you'll have a better understanding of the lingo that I'm using. So once we finish this at the bottom with no guard, we're gonna put on our 1/16 guard, and we're gonna blend out that midway point to the top. If you're getting some value out of this, consider subscribing. Make sure you hit the like button if you're liking what you're seeing. Also leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns about what I'm doing. And if I can answer that for you, I will. So do that for me. I appreciate you if you're watching this video. Right now we're at the top. I have my blade all the way closed and I'm working my way up. Let's talk about my client. Right now you can see he's asleep and he gone. He was gone for majority of the haircut. For me, I don't really have a problem with those who sleep in the chair, especially kids. It's not a big problem for me because I usually just hold their head up, and they're more still when they're asleep. So I don't mind it. Now when I get to the lining, then I usually wake them up, or I would just lay them on my chair, and that solves the problem for me. They stay still, but for the most part it doesn't bother me. I just hold them up with my left hand and fade with the right. for me are one of the easiest cuts, but they're real stylish. Let me say a mid fade is one of the easiest cuts. Now a dry fade could be a little more tough, or if you're doing like a burst fade, that's a little more tough. But the main thing is just the fading process. Once you have this down, it makes everything easier because you could just change the shape of the fade depending on the head. Right now you can see me at the top of this blend with a 1/16 guard all the way open. But like I said, the shape of the fade is the thing that changes, so all you have to do is just set it up like you always do. Set your ball line, do your mid line, and then debulk it, and you should have a decent fade no matter what the shape is. Right here is the finished look after I did the fading process with no spot check. And I wanted to show that because I think it looked pretty good for you who are beginning. If you just do the fade process and you don't do no spot check, you should have a good blend. But the key to it is you want to go back and forth over each level like 3 or 4 times, and you want to use the corner of your clipper. If you do that and you do it thoroughly, you should have a decent blend even if you're not good at seeing spots yet. So here in the back, it's important that we try to connect both our sides together and make the blend even all the way across. Also, it's important that we watch the direction of the hair growth. Whichever way the hair grows, then we're fading in the opposite direction. And I wanted to point that out because typically in the back of the head you have your swirl, so your hair starts to form in a circle. And so you gotta comb with the grain, and then you're gonna fade against the grain. So the process still the same, you're still doing the fading process. The only thing that's different is that you might have to move your clipper in a different direction like I'm doing right now. Instead of me going straight up, I'm going on an angle. So don't get scared when you get back here on the fade. It's the same process. First of all, you're going to set your ball line, then you're going to set your midway point, and then you just comb your hair. Comb your hair in the direction that it grows, and then you're going to fade in the opposite direction. Here we go with the lineup. This part, we all know it brings everything together. So it also makes the haircut stand out as well as spots. It let the spots stand out as well. So this is good because if you have any spots, they're going to pop out at you once you start to frame up your work. And you could just go back one final time to catch those spots. If you can't see any spots, great. Don't force it. Don't try to make yourself see it. If you don't see it, don't worry about it. Just the more you do it, the better you're going to get. There's really no way for you to cut hair the first time or your 10th time and be as perfect as someone who cuts, for a living for 10, 20 years. So just give yourself some time, and it's all going to come in time. Here we are at the before, and this is the after. If you like this haircut, if you like the techniques and the process that I use, or if you just like the content that I'm putting out, consider subscribing. Also leave a comment if you have any questions or concern about what I'm using. Hit the like button as well as the notification bell. And if you're still watching this video right now, I really appreciate you. So this is TK with Cuts by Kelly. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I appreciate you.